Hey, welcome to the Success Achievers Club, where we help direct sellers and online social sellers level up on their online strategies. I'm Lynn Huber,
And I'm Richard.
and this is Richard. We don't have anybody on today, but I'm going to go ahead and go. I'm sure we'll have some people come on late, and I know that a lot of people watch the replay. So
Okay.
today is your training. So welcome to our final week. So far, we talked about clearing the clutter to call in more, and we talked about rewriting the rules around worth and building capacity to hold more and calibrating to overflow energy. And then last week we talked about receiving support, not just praise. And so today we're going to finish with anchoring abundance as a way of being. So let me share my screen here. Should have done that already. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
So let's begin by reaching forward. I'm sorry. Back up. Let's begin not by reaching forward, but by anchoring in. So take a breath with me because this is what most programs skip. They skip that integration, the embodiment, the energetic decision to stop chasing abundance and start living from it. So you've cleared the clutter, you've reclaimed your worth, you've expanded your capacity, you've calibrated your energy, softened into support. And so now the invitation is this: who are you, or who you are when the abundance isn't the goal, but your grounded baseline? So we're no longer building for momentum, we're building for maintenance, for sustainability, for overflow that lasts, because activation isn't transformation unless it's integrated. So today we don't just calibrate your growth, we create an inner ecosystem that allows it to keep growing, even when the program ends, even when your strategy shifts or when life gets loud. You don't need to earn your next level. You simply need to stabilize that version of you who already knows how to lead from enoughness. So let's begin this week with one grounding question. What's one way you know that you're already living differently because of this journey? Not in theory, but in practice. Maybe it's how you make decisions. Maybe it's how you rest, or how you price your work, or how you let yourself be seen, or how you recover from scarcity, faster from scarcity thoughts. Drop it in the chat and write it in your journal. We'd love to see that. So, this is proof not only that you've changed temporarily, but that you've begun embodying a new frequency. And from this point forward, we build from there. So, this is your set point now. Let's anchor it. So, let's begin with this. You are no longer becoming her, you are her. This week isn't about learning something new, it's about owning what you already are and creating the inner rhythms that allow that identity to keep unfolding without force or urgency or external validation. Because the truth is, abundance is not a moment, it's not a high, it's not a launch, it's not a bank balance, it's your baseline, it's who you are. So, first, we're going to identify why integration matters more than strategy. Okay, so let's be honest. Most people don't struggle with knowing what to do, they struggle with sustaining who they are while doing it. That's why so many programs fail to stick. They give you the tools, but they don't build the internal container to hold the shift. Here's what we're doing differently: we're integrating your abundance identity, that version of you who chooses rest without guilt, or who says yes without collapsing, or leads from overflow, not obligation, or receives without apologizing, or who prices from power, not from fear. This version of you doesn't show up only when conditions are perfect. That's your new normal. That's what makes the results sustainable. So, what it means to embody abundance, let's define that clearly, okay? So to embody abundance means you no longer wait for proof before you feel secure. You build your day around what nourishes your energy, not what drains it. You choose aligned action from enoughness, not from scarcity or proving. You let joy be part of your strategy, not a reward after hard work. Joy is just part of who you are, right? Abundance becomes something that you be, not something you chase. Let that land. It's something that you are, something you be, not something you chase. So let's anchor this with the practice, okay? Not perfection. So integration doesn't happen in a single decision. It happens in micro moments, rhythms that reinforce your identity over time. Let's talk about how to do that. So here are three anchoring practices that we're going to explore today. The energetic dashboard, which is a weekly alignment check-in, right? Joy tracking. It's time to let pleasure become your compass, and affirmation rituals, which will help you speak identity into reality daily. So let's look at the first one, the energetic dashboard. So this is your weekly self-check, not about performance, but about alignment. So you're going to ask, where am I building from pressure? Where am I leaking energy? Where do I feel in overflow? What's one adjustment I need to make make it feel easier this week? This helps you to spot subtle slippage before it spirals. Because integration isn't about staying perfect, it's about catching the moment that you leave your center and then gently bringing yourself back home. The next one is joy tracking. So, this is how you normalize pleasure as strategy. So, every day, ask yourself, what felt good today? Where did I follow ease instead of pushing? What made me feel most like myself? You don't need a 5 hour ritual. You just need presence. You need to notice that joy isn't a distraction, it's an indicator. And when joy is consistent, alignment flows. And when alignment leads, abundance responds. And then we're going to look at the identity based affirmations. Okay, so these aren't surface level mantras, they're rooted truths that you anchor into daily. So, for example, my energy is my edge, or overflow is my new normal, or I trust ease because I trust myself, or I build slowly and everything still gets done, or support doesn't shrink me, it expands my leadership. So you speak these not to convince yourself, but just to help you remember what's already true. So now that you've embodied a new identity, your future expands with you. So let's name it. Okay. The woman that you are becoming doesn't build from urgency, she builds from clarity. She doesn't hustle her way into visibility, she magnetizes through resonance. She doesn't tolerate chaos to prove her strength, she holds calm as her standard. So now ask yourself, if I were leading fully from this version of me, what would I be doing differently next week? What would I stop saying yes to? What would I start prioritizing without guilt? Write that down. Okay? Let it be simple. Let it be true. Because your next level doesn't need a reinvention. It just needs you to stop forgetting who you already are. This is you. This is who you are. You just need to remember that. Okay? So here's a final reframe before we anchor. This isn't the end. This is the stabilization. You've shifted your relationship with abundance, and now that shift becomes your system. Abundance is not something I wait for, it's who I am. It's how I lead. It's what I hold. And from this place, I build everything. So let's move into today's integration practice so your system can lock in the frequency of who you've already become. All right, so now we're going to shift into the most important part of today's call. This is where we pause, drop into presence, and create something so many high achieving women never get taught, right? An embodied, sustainable, energetic blueprint, not just for launches or content, but for how you live, how you lead, how you let yourself be every day, just who you are, right? You've done the unlearning. You've met your edges. Now is the time to anchor what's true so you can keep leading from it. So grab your worksheet or notebook, and we're going to walk through this together in three powerful steps. So the first step is to spot the identity shift. We're starting with recognition. What's changed? You're not the same woman who started this program. You're not. You don't think the same. You don't respond the same. You don't choose the same. So let's name it. Ask yourself, what's one way I've been showing up differently in the last few weeks, emotionally, energetically, or practically? Maybe it's how you say no, or maybe it's how you rest, or how you price your products, right? Or how you no longer over explain, or maybe it's how you regulate after a setback. Take a minute to write that down. Let this be proof not of what you've done, but who you've become. So I'm going to give you a second to write that down. Now I want you to complete this sentence in your journal. The version of me who leads from abundance now blank. The version of me who leads from abundance now blank. Let her voice be louder than the old one. And then step 2 is to identify your alignment anchors. So let's map out what keeps you grounded when life gets loud. Because sustaining abundance isn't about holding it perfectly. It's about knowing how to come home from it, home to it. Okay. Ask yourself, what are the signs that I'm in alignment? Maybe it's I feel spacious, or I'm calm in decision making, or I trust myself without over processing, or I create from desire, not deadlines. Now flip it. What are the signs that I've slipped into my old scarcity patterns? Maybe those signs could be I say yes too quickly, or I start micromanaging, or I feel urgency in my chest, right? Or I stop letting myself receive. All of those mean that you need to step back and allow yourself to be who you are, right? So write down 2 cues that you can watch for each. So these will become your energetic dashboard. When you notice these cues, no shame. It's just a time for a reset. So, when you're in alignment and when you're out of alignment, that's all you need, right? And then step 3 is the rituals reinforce who you are. So let's give your abundance identity some structure. Not structure that boxes you in, but structure that supports you. You're going to choose one daily ritual that reconnects you to enoughness, and one daily practice that helps you lead from overflow. So think a breath work pause before making decisions, or maybe a weekly joy scan instead of performance review. Just take a moment and think about, where am I? Where am I? What am I joyful for? How am I feeling right now? Right? A Monday morning vision memo to speak into your future self. A closing ritual on Fridays that celebrates alignment, not just results. Ask yourself, what do I need in place to protect the woman I've become when doubt creeps in? So complete this sentence. Abundance becomes my baseline when I consistently blank. Abundance becomes my baseline when I consistently blank. This is what integration actually looks like. You don't need to add more pressure. You just need to make space for who you already are. So take a moment, breathe into what you just wrote. You didn't just reflect, you remembered. You reclaimed. You stabilized a new energetic set point. And that frequency, it doesn't need to be earned, it just needs to be honored. We'll carry this forward into the group discussion in just a minute so you can speak it out loud and start integrating through language and witness. So now that we've done the inner integration work, let's share what's coming up for you. This is where it starts to root, not just through thinking, but not just through writing, but through speaking, through being witnessed. So it's through hearing the new truth in your own voice. So in a minute, you're going to go ahead and unmute, and each of you will take a few minutes to share what came through during today's reset practice. You don't have to share it all. You don't have to perform it. Just let it be real. Okay. Even a few honest sentences is enough to signal to your nervous system, this is who I am now. So this is what I want you to share. One identity shift that you wrote down that reflects how you're already leading differently. It might be a new boundary or a deeper pause or a new standard that you're not shrinking for. And then one anchoring ritual or rhythm that you're taking forward into the next week to help you sustain this frequency. So think something small, nourishing, and consistent. If it feels true, share one realization you had about how you've been abandoning abundance in small moments and what gets you to shift now. Remember, this is not about coaching each other, it's about speaking your truth and being witnessed in it. That's it. No fixing, no feedback loops, no strategy, just presence, just power, and just truth. So go ahead and unmute, say what you need to say, and let your body feel what it means to be fully seen in your new set point. You ready? Go for it. Who's first? Or, if you don't want to speak out loud, you can say it to yourself. Just, you should speak it out loud so that you hear it, right? Or type it in the chat. Pat, I loved your ideas for a joy scan and setting a Monday vision. Oh, a money vision.
Money vision.
Is that a money vision?
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome, Pat. It's finding where your joy is, right? If you're not feeling joyful, then you know you're out of alignment. But if you're feeling joyful, you know you're in alignment. And Monday vision. Awesome. Perfect. Okay. So we're stepping into our final coaching space inside this training. And before we open the floor, let's take one slow breath together. Let this breath say, I don't need to do more to stay in alignment. I don't have to hold my transformation perfectly. I trust who I've become and I'm safe to stay here. This space is for anything still feeling tender or uncertain or unspoken. You don't need a perfectly worded question. You don't need a breakthrough waiting in the wings. You just need to bring what's real. So you're welcome to share maybe a space where you're afraid you might slip back into your old rhythm, or maybe a fear that the version of you who's shown up here might be temporary, or maybe a situation where your new identity feels challenged, or maybe a desire for reassurance that slowness and softness and sustainability still lead. Or maybe a place where you're wondering, can I really let it be this simple? It really is that simple. Does anybody have anything they want to share? All right. Well, we're holding you, right? So um, let me see, where are we? So it's not about advice, right? It's not about solutions. It's more about just knowing where you are and where you're living in abundance, right? It's not about fixing anything. It's about letting the truth echo until it feels safe in your body. So as we wrap up this segment, I want you to remember this. Abundance is no longer something you chase. It's something you choose. Every time you pause instead of push, every time you soften instead of shrink, every time you anchor back into clarity without needing proof, that's leadership. That's embodiment. And you didn't perform your way here, you became her. That frequency is yours to hold now. Your only job is to keep returning to it on purpose and without apology. So before we close out today, I want to walk you through your next steps. This week isn't about more content or bigger action, it's about stability. So your job now is to hold the identity that you've claimed and create rhythms that support it. You're not becoming her, you are her. Now you just practice remembering. So here's your homework. So number one, complete the abundance integration reflection. Use the prompts in your worksheet to explore what's shifted. How are you leading differently now? Where are you naturally moving from overflow, not obligation? Let the evidence anchor you. And then number two, we're going to identify your alignment anchor rituals. So choose one daily and one weekly practice that reconnects you to your abundance identity. These are not chores, they're cues designed to bring you back to clarity when the noise starts to become loud, right? They're just to bring you back to yourself. So keep them simple and keep them consistent. And then number three, name your new set point. What does abundance feel like in your body now? What are 1 to 2 signs that tell you I'm in alignment? Name them, own them, let them become your new filter. And if you're open to it, share your anchoring ritual or identity shift with us today. Go ahead and unmute yourself or type it in the chat. Let us witness the version of you who no longer chases abundance. She lives from it. So go ahead and unmute if you'd like to talk. Okay, well, so you don't need to do more to stay in overflow. You simply need to keep choosing it gently, consistently, and from the version of who already knows. You, right? Who already knows. Abundance isn't what you work for, it's what you hold, it's what you protect. It's who you are now. You've cleared the old clutter. You've rewritten the rules around worth. You've built capacity, calibrated your energy, received support, and redefined success on your terms. And from this place, you're no longer waiting for permission to lead. You are the permission. So if and when the old patterns return, and they might, right? Now you have the tools, the rituals, and the truth to return to yourself because the real transformation, it wasn't in what you did, it's who you remembered you already are. This is the frequency that builds legacies. This is where the chase ends and the embodiment begins. So that's all I have for you today. I hope you found it vulnerable. If you missed vulnerable, valuable.
That was appropriate. Yeah.
Vulnerable too.
Yeah.
But I hope you found it valuable. If you missed any of my trainings, you can find them all in our Success Achievers Facebook group. Please get in the group and get involved. I will continue to share posts and information in the group that will hopefully help you to build your business. And then feel free to ask questions or comment with your thoughts. Let's start some discussion in our Facebook group, okay? As soon as I put together another training for you, I'll let you know. It will be a little while, but I'll get something going. So watch for details in our Facebook group. And I want to thank you guys for being here all the way to the end, especially you, Pat. You've been here, I think, on every one. So I
Yes.
appreciate you. And all of you who are watching the replays, I appreciate you too. Thanks for being here. And I hope you have a great day. So we will see you in the Facebook group and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye bye.